I finished with the spring cleaning of my modern day covered wagon. I'd love to give you a short little tour. I don't have the car top carrier back on top yet, my attic, but I'm out at a last minute trip just over the Oregon-California border next to the Klamath River. Lovely. I'm checking out to see if I need everything that I brought with me or not. I kind of threw stuff in there at the last minute, so we'll see. But in the meantime, I'll give you a short little tour. My MiniVan Camper was all shiny and clean, and then I've been on gravel roads for the last couple of days, so it's gotten a little dusty. But this is the side I go in on, the passenger side. And here on the right you can see a little hassock footstool that I've got bungeed to the bed so it doesn't slide around. I have a mat next to it, so it's nice when it's muddy or dirty. I can just step right up there, sit on the little hassock, and put my shoes on that rubber mat. I've got a piece of masonite underneath it because, well, I'll show you. I put a cookie sheet on there. I slide it over to the edge. I put a cookie sheet on there, and I can use that to cook on when it's windy, too windy to do out back or on a picnic table or something. I can put it right inside here. The other day I did exactly that. It was threatening rain, so I was cooking in this spot right here. And if it started to rain, all I had to do was hop inside and close the door. Of course, I leave a window cracked because I'm using a butane or a propane stove. And I've got a carbon monoxide detector right there and a fire extinguisher. Safety first. So that works very handy. That's a very handy setup there. And then I just shove it out of the way. On that masonite, it slides easily. Then you can see my wood and 2x4 bed. I'll tell you more about that on the other side. I store my clothes underneath in the back. And I've got various pieces of gear there underneath the bed. I left up the back part of the seat. I had it down on the floor to test it, and I went out to a park to do some spinning, and it started to rain. So I decided, okay, you can't spin in the front seat, you can't spin outside, but with my little spindle, I could sit inside on this little seat and comfortably spin. I can sit there and edit on my laptop, I can read a book, I can eat dinner, I can do all kinds of things. So that has proven to be handy as well. In the front, currently I'm using an ice chest, so I seat belted into the seat there so it's not a projectile. Got water there, I've got my coats and some snacks, and I've got my portable power station right now. It's plugging in a smaller power station, a little power bank I use to charge up my phone. Here's the driver's side. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I've got some of those pull-on screens that slide over the windows, and that works in the front. I haven't figured out anything for the back yet, but I'm working on that. Here you can see one of my alpaca mats that I put on my seats. It's from the alpaca fiber from our alpacas that we used to raise. We sent it to a rug mill in Texas to have these made, as well as big room size rugs. It's wonderful. And we share them, we used to share them every spring, and then they can grow fiber again, and the next spring we share them again. It was wonderful. So here in the door, I've got my binoculars, I've got some pepper spray, I've got some hand sanitizer, I've got a flashlight, I've got one of those handy dandy little tools to break your window and cut your seatbelt if you're in need of that, and an ice scraper because we were using those until just recently. And I put a little towel in there. It's handy to have, but it also stops the rattling. I've got my solar panel. Now it's an older one, but it still works great. It's only 100 watts, but it powers my little 300 watt portable power bank. And until I figure out what kind of electric refrigerator I'm gonna get, I don't know how many more solar panels to get or how much of a bigger power bank to get. So in the meantime, it's serving my purposes. It powers my laptop, my iPad, my cell phone, the lights, fans, other miscellaneous things. Behind the solar panel, you can see on the right, that's my ham radio go bag. I just got my ham radio license, and so if I'm out of cell range, which I am right here, I can use my ham radio to contact somebody in case of emergency. There's some of my window coverings. I just broke down and got WeatherTech. I've done the Reflectix before, but I just bought those quickly this time. And then I've got the rain guards. Those are marvelous. You can open the window a little bit, get some ventilation, and let out carbon monoxide, even though it's raining. Behind there, behind that, you can see it. There's a tub with food and tools and things like that. I've got tarps and tent poles and things like that. There, I have my clothes back underneath behind that go bag. And you can see the spread. Normally I have sheets and blankets and stuff on this bed. This time I just threw in the sleeping bag. But you can see the linen jacquard coverlet that I've got on it. Underneath is a wool felted mattress that I made. And there's the plywood bed and the 2x4. So you can see a little bit more about how it's constructed. Has a unique story of this bed. The neighbor has power tools, and I have a sewing machine, so I rebound an old quilt of his in exchange for him helping us with power tools. So between he and my husband and I, we built this bed, and we made it to very specific measurements. The floor is like 6 inches higher in the back of the minivan than it is in the front. So I had to make the legs accordingly. So the ones in the front are 6 inches taller than the ones in the rear. But what I wanted to be able to do was fit the tubs that I already had for gear in the front, and then I've got a shallow tub in the back that I wanted to fit underneath there. Let me show you that. I normally have my folding chair strapped across the back of this rack, and another fold-up chair, a bag chair over to the right, so I always have 2 chairs with me. I adjusted this rack so that it's the same height as the platform, the platform of the bed, and then the tub at the bottom, the bin down there, slides out. And you can see the fold-up table to the right in the center between the stacks of things, and that is magic. I'll show you. Conveniently, the lid opens in 2 parts, so I can just pull it out part way, and it supports itself because of the rack, and I can access the stuff in the front. I can pull it out all of the way, prop it on one end in the car, and the other end on this folding table that I've had for probably 20 years that just happens to be the right height. Perfect. And the table folds up in between. It's great. The other thing, I can use this for a cooking station and a prep station. I'll put in a picture of doing that. I was making grilled cheese sandwiches from sourdough bread that I made, and cooking some bone broth. I had my little butane stove there, and it works wonderfully. I put the cookie sheet underneath the stove, and I put up windscreens, so that works marvelously, and all my gear is right handy there. On the right hand side, I've got bone broth and things like that. I've got my cast ironed cookware. I've got that black bag is not a doctor bag, unfortunately. I don't have those skills. It's my tool bag. I have some levelers there in case I'm on not level ground. I've got a big long rug that fits next to the front door, or next to the side door where I get in and out. I've got my fire kit, some food. Now, interestingly, and I planned it this way and it actually worked, some of the tubs on the upper shelf, they're accessible from either the outside or the inside. So if I wake up and it's raining and I don't want to go outside, I just pull that tub out and I can cook. I can make hot water for washing up, or I can make hot water for tea or for bone broth. I can cook a little bit of oatmeal, things like that, very easily. That's proved to be very handy. Got my utensil bag there. And off to the far left are the rest of the larger pieces of the window coverings, like for the front, the very front windshield, and this back window here. I've tried to attach everything securely to something else that's stationary. So I've attached the rack and the bed frame to hooks that are in the floor. I've attached that hasket to the bed. When I have my chairs in here, I have those bungee corded to something. And the ice chest is seat belted into the seat. I don't want things flying around. Up here on the top is a paper towel holder. I just put a bungee cord there, and as long as I keep it down low, the paper towels don't roll all out about by themselves. And then when I want to use them, I just slide that little hook up a little bit, and I've got a handy spot to have paper towels that I can reach from the inside or the outside. I like that a lot. Oh, one other thing I don't think I mentioned. This hasket also stores my portable toilet. It's more like a bucket system, and I use horse pellets in it. I triple bag it. I've got of course, I've got the antibacterial wipes. I've got all that sort of business. I haven't had any issues with it. It's been very handy in the middle of the night when this poor old lady needs to get up and go potty. I don't have to go outside. It's great. And in front of it, you can see an antenna. That's a magnetic antenna that sticks on the top of the roof of my minivan, and then I hook that up to my ham radio. And I've just got a little handheld ham radio, but that would work perfectly in emergency purposes. This is just down from the campsite that I'm at. It's a lovely Klamath River. The river's really full right now. So quiet and peaceful. Every so often a truck goes by up on the highway way up there. But this is down next to the river, and it's wonderful. Sun is shining, it's glorious. I hope you enjoyed the little tour I gave you of my MiniVan Camper, my modern day covered wagon. This is a lovely spot to sit and watch the river. I'm glad you were here with me today. Thanks for watching.